Creativity is all about making connection between different ideas. The more apart these ideas are, while still holding a connection, the more interesting they are. And today I'm going to share with you my brainstorming techniques to come up with ideas. So much of what I do as an illustrator is coming up with visual images for words that the client provides. My client for this project is a tech company looking for an illustration for the phrase, turning failure into feedback. Now, I use brainstorming because it allows you to come up with original ideas. If I were to just look at this phrase and wait for an idea to come to me, I would be getting normal and uninteresting results. But by using brainstorming, it allows me to dig deeper into my mind and find connection between two separate concepts that is going to bring this phrase to life. Because you're looking for that one image that is able to convey the whole meaning of the phrase. So I'm just going to start with a blank piece of paper and I'm going to write the phrase on top. Turning failure into feedback. And next, I'm going to try to come up with ideas for images for the word failure alone. And once you have a page full of really messy, really simple sketches, then it's easier for your brain to make novel connections between them. And that way you come up with outside of the box ideas for the phrases that you're trying to illustrate. So what would be starting from the most obvious image that comes to mind when you think of the word failure? Well, for me is a thumb down, something that you would give on a negative review, for example. Another obvious thing would be a sad face. But at this point, I am not filtering ideas, so I'm also doing a fast sketch of a spilled coffee cup, right? That to me means failure of making a mistake. Another concept would be broken glasses, because if you ever stepped on your glasses, you know how frustrating that is. So for the word failure, I have a thumbs down, a foot stepping on glasses, a sad face, and spilled coffee. Now I'm going to try to come up with visual ideas for the word feedback. Starting from the most obvious, that could be a text bubble, like you would see on your cell phone on a review. Another way of feedback is the 5-star system, when you assign stars from 1 to 5 in a type of review card. Another idea could be a megaphone that you are announcing your feedback. But maybe the most interesting idea that comes to mind is a suggestion box, because it's not the first idea that comes to mind, but is recognizable enough that everybody that sees a suggestion box knows what it is. So now that I have images for both the word failure and the word feedback, I'm going to try to combine them and come up with a third idea just by looking at these images. So we are looking at images that are already one step removed from the original phrase. And that allows you to not come up with always the most obvious answer for the phrase. So the first idea that comes to mind is mixing the suggestion box with the 5-star review. And that would look like something like this, where you could see a hand introducing this review card into the suggestion box. And maybe the card has a negative review. So that would signify turning failure, this review card, into feedback. But looking at the phrase again, there are still more possibilities to come up with ideas. Like for example, the word turning into. We already came up with images for failure and images for feedback. But we still have the words turning into. So when I think of something turning into something else, I also have the image of a box that transforms one thing into the other. On one side, you have something coming in. On the other side, you have something coming out. So combining all three things, now I really feel like I've come up with a good idea for this illustration. I'm going to draw a transparent suggestion box with a hand introducing a sad face from the top, but everything that you're going to see inside the suggestion box is going to be star reviews or commentaries. So now that I have my concept, I can start with sketches. I feel like I could draw a whole person or just a hand, but for the size of this illustration, I think I'm just gonna go with the hand. I want it to be clearly marked as a suggestion box. There we go. It has to look transparent on the top. Somebody is going to be introducing a sad face, but all you're going to see stacked inside the box are commentaries and reviews. Now that I'm happy with the composition, I'm going to quickly move to color. It's important to limit your palette to 3 or 4 colors just to make the illustration look clean and not too cluttered. In this case, I am using the brand colors, which are dark blue, light blue, and yellow. I am adding some texture to make the illustration more interesting. So this is my process for coming up with ideas for illustrations. And once I'm happy with the result, I am ready to send to the client for approval. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video has been helpful for you.